Hey guys, and welcome to an exciting episode today where I'm interviewing two of my loves, Miss Allie Lepstick and Michelle Goldblum of Soul Camp. And I thought how perfectly, we were actually supposed to do this interview last week, and I was feeling under the weather after last weekend, and I decided to take a self-care day and postpone it. And we rescheduled for today, which is the new moon in Leo, which is all about creating from a heart-centered place and really going passionately after, things that you're creating from like the deep, deep depths of your soul. And how beautiful that I get to chat with two ladies who I would consider experts in that alchemy. So I want to just dive in, and why don't you both just introduce yourself? I feel like most people that know me probably know you guys, but just in case there's anybody out there that's seeing you for the first time, why don't you introduce yourself, and then I just want to dive right into Soul Camp and heart-centered creation.
Awesome. Well, hi everybody. I am Michelle. I don't know if they can see me if it's switching.
They can see you.
They can see. So I'm Michelle. Ow.
Oh, I didn't know we were going to say something else. I'm Allie, and I'm the other founder of Soul Camp.
Yes, we are the co-founders of Soul Camp, and we're usually together. So this is like a unique thing. Like I know, we haven't been separated. It's been, what, Allie, like 8 days in a row or something. So we've been, like, together.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so this is the first day that we're separated. It's getting used to, like, being separate from you, Allie.
I love it. I love it. So in the spirit of all this heart-centered creation, one of the things I get asked often, as I'm sure you guys probably do as well, being founders, is how do you take an idea that that comes to you? Maybe it's coming to you in a meditation, maybe it just comes to you as you're walking down the street, maybe it comes to you while you're hanging out with your best friend, and actually take it from that initial excitement and, oh my God, this is a brilliant idea. I feel a lot of us have those experiences where you're like, on a roll and you're like, oh my God, we should totally do this. But there's so few people that actually take it from that like beautiful baby stage and allow it to, go into that action stage and really create something from it. So can you tell us a little bit about what that process was like for you guys?
Yeah. So for Michelle and I, it was really interesting because both of us had on our own paths and in our individual lives started our own businesses. So Michelle had a branding agency, I had a branding agency, I was a coach. So we both had experience in taking that idea into reality. But with Soul Camp, when the idea came, like our old camp director reached out to us and he was like, oh, you could invite some people here. I see you guys do these different retreats. And he's like, maybe you could have a small yoga retreat. And Michelle and I were overcome with so much excitement that it was literally like there was nothing to do but do it. Like, I don't know how to explain that. I've never said that before, but it was just like there was so much excitement. We couldn't just sit on it. There was no like, oh, that would be nice. It was just like, of course. So,
yeah.
No, you go, Michelle.
No, I was just going to say, and I've never even thought about that, Cassandra,
yeah.
But it's so true. Like, so many people have an idea, and it like doesn't come to being, myself included in the past. But like, this is so, like what Allie said, this was never even an option. Like, it was already happening. Like, the energy was already there. I think that's like the biggest thing. The energy of Soul Camp was so big, and we stepped into it. And, all along have felt like, wow, so honored that we are the ones that are able to just, like, guide it forward. And it's never been about us. It's so not about us. But it's like we are the ones facilitating the energy out into the world. And the energy is so big, and it's so full of, like, joy and excitement and awe and wonder that it's never even been a question.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I think that is something, I think when I look back at some of my babies, my work babies, like with Eat With Intention, it was that, like, when it came through, there was, like, no way I could say no. Like, there was not even an option for not, like, signing up for it. and just kind of buckling up. So I think anybody that's watching that, I think that it's kind of a beautiful message that, you know, you can trust that when like an idea is really supposed to push you forward, you'll know. You know, it will be an undeniable feeling that will move you forward. So if you're having an idea and perhaps it is information, the conception of it, there is a little bit of like, man, maybe I could leave it. Maybe someone else could do it, you know? Not your idea.
Yeah. And like the other thing is we stay and continue to stay in that energy of excitement and joy and wonder throughout. So throughout every, you know, we're in our 3rd year now, and every single, you know, it's just like every single thing that happens, it's, the excitement is there. Like, oh my gosh, this person wants to be involved, or we just got this, or whatever it is, and just continuing to stay in that energy of joy has been so important also.
I think that's so major because I'm a big Tony Robbins fan, and I just recently watched the I Am Not Your Guru video, and I was like, what?
Did you see Allie was everywhere in that documentary?
Oh my God, I have to watch it again.
Yeah,
I got in, and I thought, because I saw you post something on Facebook, I was like, oh, you know, like, let me keep an eye out. But I didn't notice. But I get so involved that I probably, you know, I'm gonna have to rewatch it because I just love him. But I've been like a Tony Robbins fan from like back in the day. And one of the things that's been like coming through, especially with this new moon, and thinking about this subject of like heart-centered creation, is that one of my favorite ideas of his, and the way he says it is so approachable, whether you're, you know, a spiritual or not, is getting yourself into state and like getting yourself into that place, that energy of that emotion. And I was thinking about that today, and I was like, you two are like, of all the people I know, and I know a lot of people that are doing awesome things, I think you two are by far the best at being in that state of excitement and joy and really just like having that momentum. So, and I do think that's so important with whatever you're doing. And for me, I'll be really honest, it's a bit more of a conscious effort for a lot of my projects, where I really have to, like, one of my processes that I do is I write a letter to my people, and I'll read that letter, and it's like I usually get emotional and I like cry, and I'll read it pretty regularly just to remind myself why I do everything I do. And it's a little bit different state, you know, because it's more of like a heart-centered kind of weepy, like emotional place. But it does the trick nonetheless. And, you know, and I'm just wondering, I know that, you know, from knowing you both personally, individually, you both are like very happy, excited people. But are there specific rituals or things you guys do together or separately to just make sure that that momentum is going on a day-to-day basis?
100%. I mean, it's definitely like that might be our natural state, but it's not. We're not like that all the time, of course. And so you mentioning Tony, I mean, one of the biggest ones. So we are also huge fans of Tony Robbins, and he talks about, he teaches this thing called you make a move. So we went to one of his seminars. Whoever's been to Unleash Power Within, make a move. And Michelle and I literally, if we need to like amp up before a call or like get into action, sometimes we'll meditate, but most of the times we just make a move. And we're like, and we start like chanting, like, now I am the voice, I am the voice. And like we get in that state. We use that actually at camp a few times when we're feeling sluggish or we're kind of scared of the outcome, and we're like, I don't know if we can do this, and we're just like, we got this. And we use that tool. That's a huge one, getting into the state. And like even just like jumping jacks and just kind of like revving up our energy in that way, we do that.
Yeah, and we tell each other how amazing we are a lot of the time. So we will definitely say, you know, wow, like before getting on a call or before getting off, like, we're amazing. We're amazing. We're amazing. And just reminding ourselves not just how amazing we are, but just how amazing all of this is, and staying in the wonder and the awe. You know, like anytime, like Ali said, we get sluggish or it's like a 16-hour day, you know, constantly reminding ourselves, like, wow, we get to do this. How amazing. How amazing. And just that energy of gratitude, excited gratitude, I think really helps us stay in that momentum.
Yeah, I love that. And for, you know, for people at home that don't necessarily have a business partner that, you know, can tell them that, for me, one of the things I do that is kind of similar to that in a way is I have like goals at any given time, right? And my goals are not necessarily like typical goals. Like my main goal right now is to teach over 400,000 people how to meditate for free. And because I'm like, meditation shouldn't be, something you have to pay for. And that's like one of my missions is to make it accessible to as many people as possible. So I'll like get up and like dance around with that and be like, yeah, we're doing this. We're going to do this. I'm going to figure it out. Let's do it, And it gets me in kind of that same like state of excitement. As well as obviously if you don't have a business partner, I have amazing entrepreneurial running buddies who, when I'm having a bad day and I need, before an interview or before something like that, I need someone just to be like, you're amazing, you're going to kill this, it's going to be great. It's so good to have cheerleaders that, that can really, we all need to be that for each other, especially in, in the entrepreneur world. It's so helpful.
Yeah, we talk all the time about the power of community and just how imperative. I don't know how people do it without community.
No,
I really don't. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have Allie by my side every day, like a built-in community. But it's like, if you have your own business or you're doing something solo, to be able to like get it off the ground and into the world, there needs to be that constant go, 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 you can do it, you're doing it. This is so important. And, I think that's what community can provide completely.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you, one of the next thing I was going to ask you was about, were there any times where you were really, in a funky place, whether it was because of Soul Camp or just personally, but like obviously you were still doing things for Soul Camp, and really needed, because I just know recently with, I think the past few months, all of us have kind of been dealing with some stuff, and like I just astrologically, there's been, just a lot of peeling of layers off and dealing with some things maybe from, growing up and just really growing and stuff. And, for me, I think that's been my number one resource, has been, community during that whole time, and just having, people in your life that you can be like, sometimes it's really funny. Sometimes my girlfriends literally just text me and be like, are you going through it right now? And I'll be like, oh, yeah. And like, sometimes that's all you need is just to know that, like, okay, you're not alone. It's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Allie and I go through it all the time, right? Like that, I think that just comes with like doing big things in the world, that there is always something to be so thrilled about, and there's always something to be not so thrilled about, right? And, to have, like what you said, have running buddies, have the group text messages, right, that we can just immediately go to be like, guys, am I okay? Yeah. Am I okay? Am I, like that, like really just, am I okay? And like another one, like I text a lot, like, it's all working out, right? Like everything's working out. And just to hear echoed back, like, yes, everything is perfect. But just to hear that so quickly, I think is pretty wonderful.
Yeah, and Cassandra, I think you had like two parts to that, and one of the ones that I love that I don't think we talk about enough is like, one, we're on this entrepreneurial journey and those personal things that we end up going through, but we're still like on this higher mission and creating like community and doing the work that we're doing, and how to balance that almost, right? So like, have we gone through personal things? Of course, right? And in those times, like, I think it's when we remember that our healing is the most important. And in order to create what we're creating, we have to always be coming back to ourselves, always taking care of ourselves first and foremost. And that doesn't mean that you can't be in action at the same time. It's just being gentle and making sure that that is always your number one priority. And for me, when I come against those obstacles or struggles, it's almost just the reminder of like, oh, right, you forgot that you're supposed to be taking care of yourself first, right? That it's like, come back to yourself. Like that's what's important here. So I think we can use that for our benefit.
Yes, I love that. That's so important. I think especially when you're doing a business that is created from your heart center, from your soul, from something you really love, you need to fill up that well, because it's that well that overpours, that infuses the beautiful energy. Like, it's no surprise Soul Camp is what it is because of how you two are, right? And because of the energy you guys put forward, you know, like just hang out with you two is like mini soul camp, right? Like it's like a taste of soul camp. And so I think that's what we forget sometimes, especially when, you know, you're like starting a business and all the like not so fun sides that can come to that, you know, that you just have to get through like on your laptop, whatever. And, you know, realizing that, yeah, we need to like fill up our own well, and, you know, we need to be able to be that bright, shiny, and joyful and getting ourselves excited person so that that can spill over into all of the things that we touch.
Yeah.
So now I want to talk about our favorite parts of Soul Camp, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, but so, well, first of all, just in case anybody who doesn't know what Soul Camp is, and I feel like I'm just assuming that like if you know me, you probably know what Soul Camp is. But, you know, in my words, and feel free to elaborate / correct me, you know, Soul Camp is kind of adult sleepaway camp, but it's really just, it's this amazing transformative container where you go and just get to be your full self and just get to fully self-express and just play and be a kid and connect with other people that are in that space that are ready to explore. And it's an amazing time for both connection and community and tremendous self-reflection and growth. And one of my favorite things about Soul Camp, we kind of touched on earlier, is that community. And when I was an instructor last year at Soul Camp West, I had just moved to California. And I remember driving down to Soul Camp West and really, you know, setting my intention and setting a prayer for the journey. Not only that, of course, that, you know, I was able to touch the people who were in my workshops and give them an experience that they would take home with them that would, you know, help them on their spiritual path. But for myself to be able to meet some incredible people on the West Coast and meet people that I share, you know, my path with. And I ended up in a bunk with 3 other women who, you know, were divinely picked for me. And, you know, we all ended up becoming such good friends. And we were just, it was amazing. And, you know, we continue to be connected today. And, you know, me and 2 of the girls were on a group thread, and they have literally been like soulmate friends through so much for me. And I just literally, that was, you know, there were so many amazing gifts that I got out of Soul Camp. Which is why I thought we should all say about our favorite one, and I just stole this one. But but like that was so priceless for me to be able to truly find people that got me. And I thought, you know, on all levels at Soul Camp, there wasn't really anyone you couldn't have a conversation with, that you couldn't go deep with, that you couldn't, you know, say, hey, you know, today I had this big life realization, and wasn't like, oh my God, tell me about it. You know? And so what about you guys? What you've kind of seen, you've seen East and West, you've seen multiple camps and, you know, all different people. What is your, you know, when someone asks you and you have like 5-10 seconds in an elevator or whatever, and you really, you know, out of all the things, you can just like pick out like one that really zings you, what do you say?
Well, I can say my favorite memory first. So to echo, I mean, watching people find their people is so incredible. But you really spoke beautifully about that. So the thing that I love is watching people find themselves and like really tap into who they are and have that discovery, so surrounded by so much love and so much like holding space for that. My favorite memory ever is Soul Camp 2014. We had this man come, and he came to camp like very like, you know, kind of like, I want to pitch a tent, I don't want to be in the bunk with everyone, like very just like closed a bit, and wanting to be alone, and, you know, wanting to have his own experience, which is fine, and we support that fully, but, you know, very shy. And 2 days later, he is on the stage at the talent show, the star of the talent show, like, you know, playing his guitar a cappella. Like, it was just like unbelievable, and everyone like up at the end screaming, Elliot, Elliot. And it was just in such a short amount of time watching this person peel away their story of who they were, of like, I am shy, I like to be alone, I like to this, peel that away fully and step into their full self-expression, which is him, a rock star on this stage. And like, that is by far, and that's just one small example, like that happens a million times over, people waking up to who they are and realizing, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be this, or oh my gosh, this is my passion, and like pop, 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 like popcorn everywhere, right? Like just that discovery is so incredible. So yeah, that's my favorite memory, I think. I love it.
Michelle knows the talent show is my favorite part. I cry like throughout the whole thing because it's just incredible to, like, our whole intention with this is for people to feel like they can be free to be themselves, and then to have the courage to stand on the stage in front of 200, 300 people sharing whatever's up for them. We have people singing, and then we have people sharing like their most intimate, heartfelt thoughts, like what's coming up for them at Soul Camp, and it's just so beautiful. But another story that will always be imprinted on my mind was also at the first Soul Camp, where this woman, she's in her 50s, she came running up to me, and my mom actually was standing next to me, and she was like, I can't believe this, and she was just like, she was bawling, and she was like, I can't believe it took me this long to meet my best friends. She's like, I found my people, and she's crying, she's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the thought of just like, by simply showing up for my work and my path, that could create that outcome for this woman that had to wait 55 years to meet the people that she felt connected to, like, holy shit. So that for me, and then that goes back to like what you were saying, like meeting your soulmates, right? Like you met your soulmate, and like this is the place where people meet their soulmates, and we need that. I couldn't do anything without those people in my life. So I'm so happy that people are able to experience that.
Yes, I love that. And one of the other things that I really love about Soul Camp is that it's a very eclectic group of instructors. And I think it's one of those, you know, I often have gone to different situations like this where, you know, it's an event with many different teachers, and you go because, you know, maybe one or two teachers, but like you love those teachers, and you're kind of like, well, if they're in this mix, then it must be a good mix, and, you know, maybe I'll find other people I really love. And the thing I love about Soul Camp is how you guys have really curated an amazing mix of different instructors who kind of touch all ends of the spectrum. So you can really come wherever you're at and go as far as you want to go there. And so I just wanted to talk to you a little bit more about that. Some of your, you know, maybe talk about some of your, I don't want to say favorite instructors, because I'm sure everybody who's an instructor is your favorite instructor. But maybe some adventures or stories you have heard about people who maybe like came for, you know, Patricia and Intensati and like loved her, right? And then was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that I could get like, you know, a healing meditation with singing bowls. I didn't know what that was, but I like dropped in on that, and that was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I can even tell the story of one of our instructors. Like, we had an instructor, Diane, who came. She's like a boot camp instructor, like came to teach, right? And ended up finding Tibetan bowl healing, and was completely transformed by it, and ended up becoming a Tibetan bowl healing facilitator instructor herself. So now she leads, you know, Tibetan bowl healing all over the city. And like, you know, so often people come because they think they want to like take yoga, like their favorite yoga instructor's coming, and they want to take, you know, go on like yoga and cardio, and they're the ones like in the family constellation therapy workshops, and they're the ones like in the past life regression. And so often people say that they came for one thing, or they came for one instructor and found their path through another. So it's, yeah, I love that. That's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, and we send out the schedule about a week before camp, and everyone, not everyone, but a lot of the campers are like planning out what they're going to do, and they're like, I'm going to go to this and this and this, and then they get to camp and they're doing something completely different because they're called to. And I just love witnessing that, because like, we really create a place of exploration. And one of my best friends, who just came to camp literally because of me, she,
So you gotta know who it is.
she came, and she's like, cool, I'm going to try. You know, she's super into fitness, so she was going to do more of the wellness, nutrition, fitness stuff. And she found breath work, and now goes up to Harlem every single Monday night to take breath work from Kathleen Booker. And I'm just baffled. Like, every time they text me a picture, I'm like, what? Like, I'm just like, I can't believe it. But it's just that, because she just discovered the benefit. And that's why I think it's so great that we have so many different types of modalities, because oftentimes we have judgments about them, but we don't know what is actually going to be beneficial and healing for us until we try it. And if we're able to try it and we're seeing such incredible benefits for our spiritual path or health or whatever we're wanting, then, like, oh my gosh, of course, now it's a given that we're going to do that, right? So,
yeah.
I love that. I had my first breathwork experience with Madeline, who's one of my best friends, at Soul Camp. And it was so tremendous, and I was like hysterically crying like a baby, and like seeing all my angels, and it was just wild. And now I go religiously. It's like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
That's just so wonderful. I remember at last year's Soul Camp West, I taught, one of my workshops was a meditation 101, and we were all sitting outside in a circle, and it was so beautiful to go around and have this whole group who had, for the most part, never meditated, or maybe like the most they meditated was like Savasana yoga class, you know, just really have an experience and like take them through different meditations, and at the end have every single person came up to me and was like, I promise I'm going to do this for 40 days. I'm going to start this. I'm going to do a daily ritual. And it's just so amazing to have things like that where you really, like, I feel like so often, you know, sometimes when you go to workshops or events, you like go to the workshop and you're like, well, that was really great, but like now what about life, you know? And I just love that there are so many different like tools where you're like, great, like I can immerse myself and introduce myself to it here, and then I can actually take it into my life and use it in my life, and it now becomes just part of how I'm living.
Totally.
And so I wanted to end on a magical note, obviously, and just talk about Soul Camp miracles. And I'm sure you guys have like tons of Soul Camp miracles. I mean, just the stories that you're already saying are Soul Camp miracles, but I'm sure there's no shortage. I'll share another one of my Soul Camp miracles to kick off. So in addition to meeting some of my soul tribe, I had the most tremendous experience last year, and it was really a combination of all the different things. I don't really think it was, you know, it was just all the different classes I was going to, and it was so funny because even though I was teaching, I was like, I want to go to all these classes, and it was so much fun. I was spending a lot of time just like laying in the grass and journaling, and being overly emotional. But I'm a Pisces, and it's very typical of me, and I literally just had this really grounding connection to why I incarnated here at this time, and to, you know, I've been aligned with my purpose for many years now, and I've known what I was supposed to do, but really at Soul Camp it honestly felt like I was really stepping into this incarnation and all my choices in it, like really coming in as a female and honoring that I'm a female, and like that's beautiful, and really switching to doing things in a feminine way. And I had this beautiful download of all these different books that I'm going to write in my lifetime, and just really, you know, I really think for the entire, you know, extent of Soul Camp, I had so many moments where like I would go and sit by a tree, and this probably sounds weird, but you know, whatever. I would go and sit by a tree, and I would just cry in such tremendous gratitude for my life. And just being like, I'm so grateful to do what I do and to have chosen this path, or, you know, at some point, and to really step into it, and as, you know, all that it is. So that was one of my Soul Camp miracles. What about you guys?
I love that. I love that so much. I think for me personally, you know, I made a declaration last year, at the beginning of last year, at Soul Camp. And like the first day, I said, you know, I am soft. Like, I want to be soft. I am softer. And I had experiences, because at Soul Camp, it's like everything is happening for you to show you, right? So at Soul Camp, I had this experience where I really got in touch with my not softness, and like in a really big, loud, all-encompassing way that broke it, that really broke it in some way. And I was able to cry it out and feel into it, completely surrounded by like all of the healers in the world. It was like I had this experience where I'm like breaking down in the dining hall and like literally surrounded by like Terry Cole, Kathleen Booker, Margaret Nichols, like everyone around me offering their different like modality. And, you know, I think that softness has stayed with me, you know, and allowed me to open up for a relationship, and then I got engaged this year, and you know, it just led the way for a lot of things that were blocked before. So I think that so far is my biggest personal miracle.
That's amazing. I love it. Okay.
That was so good, Michelle. It's funny because I think both of us, so I also had an experience, this was at Soul Camp West last year, where I was in my trigger. I was so triggered by Michelle and her then friend being there. And I was like in my story of like, I'm alone and Michelle's abandoning me and I'm in the shadows, and like so intense, like it had to come up to the surface, like all of my abandonment stuff, all of my like feeling less than that I wasn't in a relationship, and it, you know, it allowed me to really like see the shadow that and the wound that like was really still there, and get in touch with like the actual desire that I was wanting a partner, not like a head desire of like I want to be in a relationship, but like I really want this. And from that space and the work I was able to do after, like I called in a partner that I am so thrilled and in love with, and so like I think that was one of the biggest miracles actually. And it's funny how both of our stories are the shit that came up because of it. Right? There's so much light, the shit has to come up to the surface. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, and I love that, you know, Soul Camp it's just such a great container for that. It's a magical space to really, and I think that is why, you know, if there's shit to come up, it comes up because it knows you're in such a safe, loving, supportive place where you can really like make lemonade out of those lemons, in kind of an almost like expedited process.
Totally.
Because of how held you are.
And we say like, because camp feels, you know, when you get there, 4 days feels like a month and a half, right? Like, and each day that goes by, people are like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've been here for a week. This is so weird. And it's because of that energy vortex, and it's because of that container, and it's because you step into this whole new universe that you feel that way. But yeah, that's, I think, a big reason why these huge shifts are able to take place.
Yay! I love it. Well, I'm so excited to be there again this year. Soul Camp West is happening in October, and you guys have Soul Camp East happening in just a few weeks, right?
Yes. Soul Camp East is happening in New York, in Warrensburg, New York. It's like 3 hours from New York City. In August 24th through 28th, so just a few weeks away. We're so excited. It's in a beautiful location near Lake George this year, so really incredible.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys for taking time out of your crazy schedules to chat with me. It's been such a privilege to have you and to pick your brains about everything, and I just feel like this is the best way you know, to share about Soul Camp, and to also share about how important it is to create from a place of love, and what happens when you do, what happens when you honor that excitement and you actually put something forth into the world that now is kind of, you know, this container that allows other people to do that as well, which is kind of amazing. It's like full circle. So if any of you guys are interested in going to Soul Camp, I'm going to put all the links below so you can check out either East or West. You better hop on East because it's coming up if that's your thing. And if you guys have any questions or anything that comes up, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I will try to answer everything I can, and if I can't answer it, I will ping Michelle or Allie to give you an official answer.
Perfect.
Thank you guys so much, and have an amazing rest of the day. I can't wait to see you again.
Yes, us too. Thank you.
Mwah. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.